Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a month that, according to the sources we're looking at, is shaping up to be one of the most intense and transformative periods we've seen in a long time. That's right, we're talking about September 2025. It's being described as nothing less than a massive cosmic turning point for all of humanity. And right off the bat, we get hit with this. This is an incredibly dramatic claim. It comes from one of our main sources, a channeled transmission. The idea of a great separation event really sets the stage with some extremely high stakes, proposing a fundamental split that would affect every single person on the planet. So, what does that even mean? Okay, let's really dig into this. What exactly is this great separation event? According to the material we're looking at, this isn't just some metaphor for, a new way of thinking. It's actually being presented as something far more literal and definitive. So the core idea here is a split into two totally separate timelines or realities. One is what the source calls 3D consciousness. You can think of that as our familiar, everyday reality that's really focused on physical survival, individualism. The other is 5D consciousness, which is described as a much higher vibrational state, one that's defined by things like unity, love, and service to others. And the claim is, this won't be some slow, gradual shift. It's supposed to be a rapid sorting event. And this is where the claims get incredibly specific. This one source offers a really sobering forecast with actual numbers. It projects that only about 15% of the population will be able to shift onto this ascension timeline. The other 85%, it claims, would stay in what's being called a consciousness quarantine, essentially locked out of these higher frequencies. Wow, that is a staggering prediction. So let's see what kind of evidence is being offered to back this up. Okay, so to get to the bottom of these, let's be honest, pretty extraordinary claims, we need to switch gears from prophecy to astrology. Our sources point directly to the sky's blueprint for this exact moment, the astrological chart, as the map that supposedly lays out all of these cosmic energies. So for anyone who's not super familiar, a natal chart is basically just a snapshot of the heavens at a very specific moment in time. You can think of it like the unique cosmic DNA for that date. And for this explainer, the chart for September 2025 is being presented as the primary astrological evidence for this whole separation event. This table right here shows the key planetary players for that time. You've got the sun in practical, analytical Virgo, then you have the moon in dreamy, spiritual Pisces. And then there's Saturn, the planet of test and structure, sitting at the very last, most urgent degree of Pisces. These specific positions are the bedrock of the entire astrological argument we're about to unpack. So, the most crucial point, astrologically speaking, is this incredibly powerful opposition. With the sun and moon pulling in completely opposite directions, it creates this fundamental tension. You've got the Virgo need for order, for details, for earthly service, pulling against the Piscean urge for intuition, for faith, for spiritual surrender. It's literally a cosmic tug of war between your head and your heart. Now, this cosmic tension doesn't just hang in the air. It's set to come to a head through two major events. Our sources are framing the month's eclipses not just as cool astronomical phenomena, but as these pivotal, soul-defining examinations that every single one of us is going to face. If you look at this timeline, you can see the month is basically set up like a multi-stage challenge. It all kicks off on September 1st as Saturn moves back into Pisces, supposedly for a final review. Then we hit the two main events, a total lunar eclipse on the 7th and a partial solar eclipse on the 21st. The month wraps up with the Autumn Equinox on the 22nd, a moment of balance where the sources claim the new reality gets locked in. Each date is presented as a crucial checkpoint. And these two eclipses are presented as two sides of the same coin, each with these, pretty official sounding names. The first, the lunar eclipse in Pisces, is called the Compassion Measurement Protocol, which is basically a test of our ability to love unconditionally. The second, the solar eclipse in Virgo, is the Practical Service Examination, a test to see if we've actually put that spiritual wisdom into tangible, real-world action. Now, to ground all this in more traditional astrology, one of our sources, Pam Gregory, reminds us that you don't really need channeled prophecies to see how potent eclipses are. In astrology, they are universally seen as wild cards. They're powerful catalysts that just accelerate change and often bring really permanent endings and brand new beginnings into our lives. Now let's zoom in on Saturn, the great teacher and taskmaster of the zodiac. As it moves back into Pisces for one last visit until 2052, that's a long time. Our sources describe its role as delivering a final, crucial test for everyone, and it's focused specifically on our energetic and emotional boundaries. So this isn't just some random planetary movement. No, it's being framed as one last chance to really master a critical life lesson. The Boundary Mastery Final Examination is all about learning to be compassionate without being consumed by everything, to be helpful without enabling bad behavior, and to maintain our own energetic sovereignty. So, what does this cosmic test actually look like in your day-to-day life? Well, the sources suggest it's going to show up through very real-world challenges. Maybe old toxic relationships suddenly reappear out of the blue, or maybe family members try to guilt you into old patterns, or workplace drama just explodes. The whole idea is that these are all designed to test your ability to hold your center and maintain healthy boundaries.
And again, that same starseed source makes a really stark prediction here. It projects that a majority, a full 60% of people, are going to struggle with these tests, confusing true compassion with codependency and getting pulled right back into old draining patterns. Passing this so-called exam is presented as an absolute must if you want to move on to that ascension timeline.
Okay, so we've talked about a great separation, cosmic examinations, and a final boundary test from Saturn. It's a lot of intensity, right? So what is the ultimate takeaway? How do the sources suggest we navigate this period consciously? Let's get to the actionable advice. Astrologer Pam Gregory offers this really powerful shift in perspective as the starting point. Instead of feeling like life is happening to you, what if you could see every single event as happening for your growth? According to her, this one simple reframe moves us from a mindset of victimhood into one of personal sovereignty, where every single challenge becomes an opportunity. So if we distill the advice from across all our sources, it gives us these 3 really clear steps. First, reframe your perspective on any challenge that comes your way. Second, honor the endings. Eclipses often bring closure, so it's super important to bless what's leaving to make space for the new. And third, choose love. The sources all emphasize that our personal reality is built on thousands of small, moment-to-moment choices between unity and fear. Ultimately, the narrative that's woven through all of our sources isn't one of some inescapable fate, but of profound personal choice. The energies of September 2025 are being presented not as a final verdict, but as an invitation and a catalyst. So the final question really isn't what's going to happen, but what will you choose? What reality will you create?